Jay here, Stretford, Paddock, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0. A frustrated evening at Selhurst Park. Joining me as always is Mr. Joe Smith. Make sure you are getting involved in the chat and the comments. There's a lot to discuss despite it being a 0-0. Joe, a point away at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace is hardly anything to shout about, and I'm not going to pretend we will be. But there was a lot of positives to take from that performance, I feel like. For at least 65, if not 70 minutes, United were the much better team. I think there was only sort of spell in the second half where Palace got into it. And that's what kind of makes it more frustrating, is that we're sitting here having drawn away at Palace when, to be honest with you, we should have won that. We should have had it dead and buried probably after the first half.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to last season, the reason why so many United fans were so frustrated and were so disappointed and annoyed and anti-Ten Hag and anti-Manchester United wasn't just the results, and the results were bad. It was that the performances every single week lacked character, lacked fight, lacked any visible tactics, lacked chances, lacked everything. If we flip that today, this performance, the tactics were clear. United controlled the ball, controlled the game, played through their lines impeccably well, pressed really well, won the ball high up, forced them into mistakes time and time again, especially in that first half. I think they had 2 shots in the whole of the first half, Crystal Palace. United performed brilliantly today. We made loads of chances. I think we missed 5 or 6 big chances again today, which I think we were at the top of biggest chances missed this season. I'm sure we'll remain at the top with all those chances that we've missed. But that is a stark contrast to the performances of last season. That looked like a team today that knew what they were doing, that were well coached, that were talented, that were working hard for each other, and that were playing well. And that's why it's so frustrating. I'm not sat here like I was last season, deflated and upset and sort of almost in this sort of depressed kind of state, the state of Manchester United. I'm sat here going, we should have won that. We were brilliant today. And I will take that any day compared to what we've been seeing in the last 12 months. I'm not saying I'm happy with it or that I'm glad we drew. We should have won the game. But if we're talking about a rebuild and things coming slowly and aiming for the top 4, these are the sorts of performances that you're going to see. But the difference between, people said, Arteta, and Arteta got time because the performances were coming along.
Yeah.
And you started to see what he wanted to put on the pitch. We saw that today. United utterly controlled and dominated that game in the first half in particular. And if we can see that every single week, we won't draw and lose many games this season. We'll win a hell of a lot. So we'll talk about the negatives and the waste and some of the substitutions that maybe didn't quite make sense. But we have to also talk about how good United were for big spells of that game and how different that is to what we've seen for the last 12 months.
Yeah, Burnside is back, says, as angry as I've been post-game since he took over, comfortable, playing well, Rashford at 55 minutes in, and for your focal point, destroyed our rhythm. He has the squad, he's been backed 5 games in, and league's done, fuming. If you mean the league title, I don't think the league title's on anyway. If you mean top 4, I don't agree with that. Burnside is back also on a second super chat, says, I'm actually stunned. Yes, there's loads of positive. Next game, the performance might not be there, and you need a manager pulling the right strings. Ross Murphy says, we were never in a title race, let's be real. We're fighting for the top 4 this season. I mean, if you want to look at the league table, 5 games in, 7 points, goal difference of 0, which isn't good enough. 5 goals scored, 5 goals conceded, 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats. The only sort of positive I will say is I feel like the performances are moving in the right direction. That's what I will say about that, because, 7 points after 5 games isn't anything to shout home about. Neither is 0 goal difference. That's not good enough. But I think you can see the performances are moving in the right direction. Obviously, we did well in that first half. We created a load of chances. I think at the end of it was 67% possession, 9 shots for Manchester United to Palace's 4, whatever. Second half, we started off brightly again. Joshua Zirkzee was looking good. Kobbie Mainoo, I think his performance kind of went under the radar. Not a lot of people talking about that. I don't know why. I thought he was mint and was doing well. Obviously, Christian Eriksen and Amad Diallo as well looked positive. Now, he subbed all of those players off, and we sort of go through each one. Now, I get it to a certain degree. Zirkzee, I don't think he's not played 90 minutes yet, has he? I think is the point there. Eriksen has played a lot of football recently, started against Southampton, started against Barnsley, so you can understand why he probably looked at him, and you pointed out just before he came off, he did look leggy, even though he was doing good passes. You said you can understand why he took him off. The only one I was a little bit disappointed with in terms of being taken off was Diallo. I thought Diallo had legs in him, and I thought he didn't he didn't hardly play against Barnsley, did he? So I thought it wasn't a fitness thing. I just thought he fancied Garnacho over Diallo to keep him on. That's the one I really questioned. But it's not like that cost us a game. That's the one I thought was a bit baffling for me.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and you don't know what's going to happen until you do it. And obviously you can predict things and you know what type of player you're bringing on. So it's not like roll the dice, and no one knew that we'd lose a bit of creative control when you take off Eriksen, Xerxes and Ahmad. I would have taken off Garnacho for
you said it, didn't you?
For Højlund,
you said when
Ahmad.
the subs were just becoming, you said, I hope he keeps Diallo on because he's been getting him behind, he's been running at him, and he had. But then obviously the manager thought otherwise, which was a little bit. And I was speaking to Ronnie, sorry to the then, and it felt a little bit overkill as well. Like, I get you have to make substitutes. I'm not knocking that. Of course, you could see it at some players, but it felt like we almost took off everyone who was doing well and then replaced them all, which is a bit much because then it's like people are finding their feet, they're getting into the rhythm of the game, and we just lost our way. We weren't the same then. I'm not trying to go, this is on the manager, but I'm just saying that had a negative effect towards the game in the sort of the last 20 minutes. Because in the last 20 minutes, if you look at that entire 90 minutes of that game, the worst 20 minutes or 15 minutes for Manchester United were probably the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably, well, not probably bad. I think that's because we'd taken off players that were sort of running the show.
I think what Ten Hag would probably say to that is, Garnacho, Rashford, Højlund were our 3 top scorers last season. I think with Bruno in there as well, who didn't get subbed. So, Xerxes is a striker that doesn't score a lot of goals. Ahmad is a winger who hasn't scored many goals for United. And Christian Eriksen obviously is playing his 3rd game in 7 days and is on the other side of 30, and we were surprised to see him on the pitch to start with anyway. So I agree that I think we lost some creativity, and maybe we should have seen that coming when you take off Xerxes, Ahmad and Eriksen. But he's trying to put goals on the pitch, isn't he? And the other thing to remember is those 3 were on the pitch for 70 minutes or whatever, and they didn't score either. Admittedly, we lost the control and we didn't make many chances after that. But I can understand where it came from. I just think you've probably taken off one too many there.
That's my point. Yeah, that's exactly my point.
I would have kept
that. Is exactly what I'm saying.
I would have kept.
It was overkill to take off. Was it 3 players?
Yeah.
For like most of the creative 3 players, almost within the space of 10 minutes. And it just sort of killed us a little bit. But, you pointed out there, we had them on the pitch for 55 minutes playing together. We didn't score then. The big talking point before the game was Marcus didn't start. I'm going to get in some of your comments and your chats in a minute, because there's a lot of chats and I will get to them. Marcus didn't start. You knew he was going to come eventually. I think that was a given. Do you think that had a negative effect, not starting Marcus?
I think that's the best we've played this season.
Do you think it was when you look at that performance, despite not getting goals, it was justified?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it, where if he's dropped him, you have to justify it. I just think we're rotating.
Yeah.
And I know you're not saying anything other than that, but people like to have this thing of, I saw some comments when we were playing well in that first half, United's best half of the season so far and Rashford isn't playing. Coincidence?
You can fuck off with that.
And I just think it doesn't have to be like that. We played well with him starting the other day. We played
as well
with him not starting
second half
today.
against Southampton, we were mint.
Yeah.
And we were scoring. So, let's not rewrite history here. We absolutely dominated the game at St Mary's, just as we dominated today. So I don't think you can go, well, that's our best performance, no Marcus. Because we had an equally good performance at St Mary's, but we scored.
Yeah, and it's just people wanting to find villains and to find fights where there isn't one. United can play well when Eriksen starts. They can play well when Ugarte starts. They can play well when Rashford starts or Garnacho starts. United need to be able to play well with about 16, 17 players swapping the rotation for starting positions. We shouldn't be trying to pit them against each other all the time. We always used to have this with Martial versus Rashford. Who's better? Well, they're both starting. Sometimes one comes off the other, sometimes the other one starts. We want them all to be good. Not like the aim is to find out and fossilise who's the best one and play them every single week. Otherwise, the manager's clueless. Rashford isn't going to play 65 games for United this season. United might. You need to have alternatives who are playing well. And I thought that we were very, very good without Marcus today. But it wasn't because we were without Marcus. It was because the players who were playing played well, much like Rashford did the other day against Southampton. It's this constant sort of debatification of football. You want 16 players to be really good for you. And if you can do that, then you're going to win stuff and you're going to win games. And that's what it looks like we've got. I know we didn't win the game today, but the fact that Garnacho had some good chances isn't a knock on Rashford.
No.
It's so stupid that it has to be that way.
What the frustrating thing for me as well is with today, it's like we're sitting here and we're being pretty rational and we're going, it's a point, it's not the end of the world, we were a better team. I just want to see Eric Ten Hag getting some points on the board and wins on the board, because I just hate the fact that he always seems to be under this pressure.
Yeah.
And I just want him to get points on the board to sort of alleviate that. Because we lose at home to Spurs now. And I know it's an if, and I know you don't like it when we do hypotheticals of games we're not playing. I understand that. But if we do, then...
Which is very possible, because they're a good side.
But then again, it's... Well, you've only won 2 games out of 6. Do you know what I mean? And then the pressure's all mounting and all that. And the media love it, and they'll amplify it. And then there'll be all these sort of rumours, United have been in talks with whatever. So I just want to see him get that buffer, because I can see this club moving forward. But sometimes, you'd be moving forward and you're not getting them points, and then people can make rash decisions or silly decisions. That's not what I want to see, because I think this manager is the right guy, and I think you can see it in the performances.
Yeah, completely.
JJS says first half was good minus lack of scoring, but Xerxes played better than our supposed playmaker. He came off and the service disappeared. Jesus Christ, and that is the actual Jesus Christ. Says there has always been a clear plan, erasing 10 years of mismanagement, building a squad from ground up and restoring the club. It's happening. Be patient. Andre Barbosa, who's been a member for 45 months, says we're not at the level of Arsenal and City yet. If you expect us to win, I think that's win every game, you're delusional. We're progressing, and that's all you can ask for. Jesus Christ says you have to rotate, not just injury-wise, but players need real games, minutes, and to learn to play together in various combinations. Think longer term. Akash K says defensively we're very sound. I was impressed with how dominant we were in possession, and particularly Eriksen. But a top 4 team wins that game. So people are sort of...
Liverpool lost at home to Forest last week. Are they not a top 4 team because of that? I know that we've lost and drawn more games than they have already, and they're 3rd in the league or whatever. So I get it, but you don't always just beat every team that you're better than, or every team that you have a better performance than.
Just Mac is that running?
Yes, it can be.
Yeah, go on, jump on there. We're going to hear from Macca as well. We'll get him involved on this live. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Sorry, brother, go on.
I just can't go over the performance thing, because the whole point of last season, the whole thing that everyone was so mad at, is that the performances were shit. The performances have been so much better this season. Surely we have to see that that's improvement. We have to.
I get it. I do. I think it's improvement. I just wish we'd start scoring some more goals.
Yeah,
that's the thing. 5 goals in 5 games. It is a little bit frustrating when you think 3 of them came against Southampton. We do need to start scoring. We're creating chances. We just need to start converting them. And I think that'll come. You look at Xerxes, he's new to the league. You can see the signs are there. I think Marcus, when he's sort of getting more minutes, I'm hopeful he'll get more goals, and I expect the likes of Diallo and Garnacho can contribute as well. It's just a bit annoying. DRS says another season wasted.
Fucking hell.
We're sleepwalking.
Stop watching.
We're sleepwalking.
I do get that feeling though.
To City winning 20 plus titles.
What were we going to win it?
But all our fans care about is a piss up on a weekend. What has happened to our club? Macca,
that has to be a sarcasm or something.
No, it doesn't. That's the kind of thing you hear. Go on, Macca. What do you make of this game?
Another season wasted, eh?
I do get that feeling though. I had that feeling 2 weeks ago. And because we have our hopes high in it every year, we want to win the league, and that has to be the aim. And when you start off dropping points against Liverpool and Brighton and Palace, it's not a great feeling, is it? But I mean, I'm more positive after this performance about our season than I have been at any point in this season. I genuinely thought it was our best performance of the season. Now, you could say I'm scraping the barrel or whatever you want to say, but the amount of chances, are they really going over that? Jesus. The amount of chances that we created, it should have been 3-4-0 in the first half. I've been positive with Andre Onana's improvements. I think he's improved a lot off the back of this season. I know he had that goal against Liverpool, which it didn't reflect well on him, but I think his performances have been fantastic. He won us the game against Southampton, saving a penalty, making sure we didn't go behind, and then today he made sure we got out of there with a clean sheet at the very least. I think he's really been impressive. I've been buzzing about Martinez and De Ligt, but then I went on Twitter and one of my replies was, Maguire and De Ligt must be the starting centre-back partnership now. Martinez isn't a centre-back.
I've seen Martinez
it went on a little bit,
stick,
and then I went, you what, mate? Are you being serious? And apparently it's because I'm racist.
What's this?
I prefer 2 white centre-backs to the other white centre-back, so that means I'm racist, apparently. But Martinez and De Ligt, something's building there. We've got something there growing. Thought Matis De Ligt looks like beast at the back. That's what we thought we were getting with Maguire. Someone good on the ball, someone physical, someone everything, a leader, everything. He's the bollocks, he is. And Lisandro Martinez, outside of the mental tackle that he did,
that was weird.
which didn't touch anyone, but it was mental. I think he was absolutely perfect. Then you got Mazraoui. Delo had a good game today. That's our back line.
Yeah.
That has to be built as our back line. I know we got Lenny Yoro to come back.
Sure.
We were all complaining about the midfield at the start of the game. That midfield created so many chances during the game. And if anything, when we took off Eriksen and Xerxes, I know Xerxes was playing up front, but when we took him off, we lost a little bit of that creativity. Could have how Bruno having a good game means we win today, Yeah,
we're going to get in some of the comments. I'll come back to you guys. There's loads of people commenting. Scott Ford says, we need to stop being scared of taking Bruno off. It clearly wasn't his day. He gave the ball away constantly. It's okay to take him off. Drop Xerxes to the 10 and put Højlund up top now and then, surely. Mechanical Tiger says, the players finishes, no one will complain. Unfortunately, we didn't. Also in a super chat, Jesus Christ again, says, hard to believe the Tuchel people. Erik ten Hag has managed the rebuild, ownership change, kill player power, and given us 3 finals and 2 trophies along the way. Martinez is some people arguing about that. Akash K says De Ligt is elite. Just
what
on the
about Martinez?
It's just some people saying he's shit, some people saying he's mint.
Based on today?
Yeah, well, I presume so. It's not clarified. It just said he's shit. He's mint, and it doesn't give any context. Onana was chatting to the media after the game. He said it's nice to have a clean sheet, but the most important thing is a win. Or is to win, sorry. We go back home disappointed. And he also said, my double save is not important because we did not win. We had so many chances but did not score. It's painful to go back the 1 point. We deserved the win. So
I hope
no one asked him about the double save. He just said, my double save.
I don't know. He might have been asked about the double save. That's just they might have said to him, what about your double save, to be fair to the kid. So I'm not saying that.
Why did United struggle to score today? You probably want to ask about the double save. It's not all about that.
Yeah.
It's not.
A couple of people digging out Bruno. Matt says Bruno was poor.
He was, but
I mean, listen, it's okay to criticise Bruno Fernandes. I think you can. I think the whole thing that annoys me a bit is when people go, he's always shit. He's always it. And I think that's when I think, no, he isn't. Like, you can say he wasn't as good as he could have been today, and I think that's a fair comment.
Also,
but he's not shit.
We know what Bruno is. We know he's going to be that guy that's taking chances. That's what we want. You wouldn't want anyone else in your team taking those kind of risks. And it can get what you notice when he wasn't on the ball as much in the last 20 minutes. Because a lot of it was just back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Santa Notch in the comments says, amazing, for 2 years I heard people demanding we don't start Eriksen because he was finished and knackered after half an hour. Now it's like he must play every night here. David says, agree, we the sleepwalking blind faith got us nowhere. Cooper Fergus says, imagine if we didn't win those finals. Can't disregard final wins because you're mad at the manager. Yeah, like you know what I mean. We did win those games. Yeah. It's like I don't think you can play what if because we won them. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Frustrating day. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. Is it FC20 in the week? But before that, we've got loads of content coming up. We're going to be back later on.
FC21 is coming.
FC21 is coming. Thank you, McKola. We're going to be back later on with a bit of a tactical analysis of the moments in the games, even though it was a 0-0, there were some big moments, including that double save that Andre Onana don't like talking about. Plus, as well, we'll have the reaction from Stephen Howson, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. That's been Adam McKola. Go and check him out on his channel for his review as well. You know where to find me and Joe. This has been a review. Thanks for watching.